Today I'm going to be showing you how to make modern trance, X Club, skin on skin, DJ HEARTSTRING, Narcissist style. As usual, you can get the full project file, samples, MIDI, presets, everything from this video is available at the top of the description on my website. Definitely go grab that. It's a really awesome template. I promise if you guys need some new inspiration or you're struggling, wherever you are in the process, this template will take your tracks to the next level. If you grab this, you'll make the best track of your life today. I promise. Links at the top of the description. Thank you so much for the support, guys. And let's dive in. Alright, so we're at 152 BPM, pretty fast, but it gives us a nice groove. And I will say, I was playing around with this. I think 150, and then if you go up to only 2 BPM faster to 152, it just grooves slightly better than 150. And then the first thing we got up here is 909 kick. Now the only processing we're doing is a bass cut. And when I talk about a bass cut, I'm not even talking about just to a simple one for the sake of mastering. I've actually been noticing when I was studying these tracks for this video that they are high passing their kicks a lot. Deadmau5 talks about this actually on some videos on YouTube. There's a lot of people that talk about this, but back in the day, the kick you wouldn't really want it to have a lot of low end to it. And I think they're kind of bringing that to this music. We go from this to this. We're cutting out all of the boom. But if you hear, it makes it a bit punchier. It makes it kind of cut through and sit in a different way in the mix. Very subtly. But the point is, when you're at this level and you're making a track that sounds pretty pro, those little subtle things will make enough difference that it'll seem big. But also, that really helps this fit with the bass line better. Because now it's you're kind of getting on the downbeats, you're getting this nice thump. And then when the bass actually hits, then you're getting the low end. Right, so it's kind of using the mixing to work with the groove. Now, then we have the bass line. So we're in the key of G sharp minor. It's actually a really simple bass line. Now, this is the chord progression. If you look at the other synths, right, they're all just playing on top of this progression. So this is establishing the chord progression with only one note, which is actually very powerful musically. The other thing you'll notice, so these are on all the upbeats, right, but you'll notice I made the notes a little bit shorter so that it's not just a full eighth note. See how when it's a full eighth note, the groove isn't quite as good as that little short, punchy. Small detail, big difference. Now, this is actually made with a square wave, a little bit of a square wave, and mainly this FM feedback wavetable here inside of wavetable, as well as a bit of sub. But really all this is there's that oscillator on its own. Then the square. And then the sub. So it all comes together to make this big, fat, punchy bass. It's going into a low-pass filter. And there's an envelope on the filter cutoff, which is its own envelope. There's also this envelope, which is on the oscillator positions, which is even shorter. You'll notice the envelopes for this are really short and punchy. Even on the amp, I mean, look at that. When would you ever want a bass that you're trying to make fat be a short envelope like that? But, if you try to do something it's not going to be as good of a groove as. So you actually do want to make this a very short, little punchy bass. And it's also kind of that's why you want to write the MIDI first, because you make this sound based on what the MIDI is doing. And then we just have a little low cut with this auto filter here, cutting out some of the sub stuff that you wouldn't hear that would just mess up the mastering. But yeah, that's the low end. So then we have the drums. Now these are a combination of drum machine sounds and a little bit of synthesis. So we're starting here with the 909 kit. We're just using the hi-hats. right? It's just like the super repetitive closed hi-hat, and then obviously the open hi-hat sitting right up there with the kick. You're not really too much to say there. I did make the open hi-hat a little bit shorter though with the decay there. We have this clap, which LD stands for Lindrum. So again, it's literally just a bunch of drum machine sounds. Like when I study these tracks, I've been noticing that. And what's cool about that is, you know, you'll pretty much always have drum machine sounds. Like Ableton default has all the sounds you need for this. Literally, like Ableton intro would have everything you would need to make this. That's why I'm showing you all these drum machine sounds. Then we have the 707 kit. Right, you can hear that's just adding like a lot of kind of background percussion, some more groove to the drums as well, with just a few of the hits in there. And then the last thing here is this operator percussion. So yeah, this is like this hi-hat. You can see, you know, it just adds. It's like we have this one, which is kind of in the background. And then the closed 909 hi-hat is in the background, but not quite as much. And then this one's right up on top. And then when you put them all together, you can hear the space between this and then the other hi-hats. Now, this is a pretty simple sound. It's just kind of using some stuff to make it sound more like a drum. So this is white noise, you can see, just a short envelope. Bandpass filter with a little envelope on that. And we also have a tiny bit of LFO on the filter. Just moving it around randomly. We've got a bit of drum bus, which again, this is one of those things like just working with the synth to kind of make it a bit less synthy and more like a punchy hi-hat. But it's really good for this because you can make this sound, which, you know, it sounds like some bright white noise, and then just make it feel more like percussion right away. And then we just have a high-pass filter, which is important because you really just want that to be in the high end. Even like that little bit of mid-range that's like, you know, this stuff. Even that can get in the way of your mix, and especially when you get to mastering. So just high-passing that. Then we have the lead. Now, I showed you with the bass line, we were in the key of G sharp minor. This is following that same exact key, and it's actually very simple because if you look at this, we are pretty much just walking up the scale. Like literally just root note, minor third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and then another root note. Like it's literally like 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. Very simple, but it's just like that rhythm with those voices. You know, it's like you pick a few voices inside of the scale that you know are gonna always fit really well over that chord progression, and then you just create a rhythm with them. And also here is the call and the response where it's like this will be dun 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 dun, and then dun 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 dun, and then over here same rhythm, dun 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 dun, like that. So it's actually pretty simple, and then the only other thing to keep in mind there, so it's picking the notes in the scale, the rhythm. It's also just walking it up and progressing it over time. Like the way that we don't just like, you know, kind of stick to one thing. We're using this as its own progression over top of that chord progression. And for the sound on that, it's made with wavetable. We got a saw wave and then another saw wave. You can see this one's an octave up, but then on this one we got a bit of pulse width, which has an envelope on it. We've also got an envelope on the filter cutoff. And this unison on shimmer. Now the secret to this is high voices but low amount, so you're still getting like that big unison thing, but it's like very tight. And then if you turn the amount up too much, you can see that goes away. Then we just have a little bit of delay filtered, so you're really just getting the highs with that to get that nice like dun dun dun. And then we got a bit of reverb. And then the last sound down here is this like rhythmic pad. yeah, this is kind of just taking, again, just a bunch of notes from the scale. Like, I'll break this down right now. Again, like, what's the first one? Root note and fourth. Pretty simple. Fifth, minor third, sixth, fifth, sixth. So you see what I'm saying here? Like, if you're looking at this and you don't really know what you're looking at, it might seem very complicated, but this is literally just like the same thing I was saying with the lead, where you can very obviously see it's just like, 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, like not anything too out there. It's the same thing with this. It's just happening more quickly, I guess. But literally, like, and then the other thing that's making the difference here, I think, is it's like kind of two different movements, right? Like, so we're getting like that, but then we're also getting see what I mean? Like, it's really like, it's just the fact that you're hearing those two different kind of rhythms happening off of each other. Now, for the actual sound, this is made with wavetable. We're using a few different wavetables. We got this harmonics 1 and this dark throat. You see there's a lot of movement on this. So we've got an envelope, which is on the oscillator position of both of those. You can see that in action. We have another envelope, which is on the filter cutoff. And then I also have this kind of like random stepping LFO on the filter cutoff, so you can hear that just moving a little bit. You can see it here too. So that's what's making it so the filter isn't in the same place twice, and it kind of like just constantly moves and evolves. We have a ton of noise unison. We got this hybrid reverb here, so here's without that. And then with it, obviously, it adds a lot of texture. Reverb is pretty underrated in terms of like creating texture. You can actually do a lot with like very cool MIDI like this and a good patch, and then just like washing it a little bit. Then we just have a high pass filter. And that's going to be it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. As always, make sure to like this video as well as subscribe. And let me know what you think of this video in the comments. Like I said in the beginning, you can get this full template on my website. The link is right at the top of the description. It is literally the most affordable template and one of the best on the market for this style. It'll take your tracks to the next level today. Definitely don't miss out, guys. It's right up there while it's still available. Go grab that. It really helps support me, but it's really about supporting you guys, giving you really high quality resources to make the best music of your life so we can all win. Go ahead and grab that link, and I will see you guys tomorrow with another video.